going to court, people, for Uncle John. Serious. Look at this dog, people. Hello? Are you coming to see me? Come here. Hello? What is it you see? What is it that you see? What you seeing? Come on, buddy.
You said her name was Lady? Hi.
Are you smelling raccoons and cats? No, serious. Raccoons and cats. I have a mother with 3 baby raccoons and 5 cats. So that's why. That's why. Now you know. You smell them, eh? You smell them.
Oh, we have like less than like...
Good boy. Good boy?
It's a girl.
Oh, good girl. You're a good girl. Say, I smell those raccoons. I smell those cats. Yes, I do. Okay, we gotta go.
Okay, go, Mom.
Okay, so same day, August 15th, 2017. So basically what happened here was the court was the masters. I don't know what the difference is between a judge and a masters, but on the signature of where the judge signs it said masters. Anyway, he was kind of favoring the lawyer for Fraser Health Authority. Because she had all her paperwork in order. She obviously knew what she was doing.
I'm just going to the bathroom. Okay. Yeah, go. It's okay.
She obviously knew what she was doing, and I got critiqued for my 100 to 200 pages of notice of claim. Basically was told that no judge would take the time to read that, and that I needed to bring it down to at least 15 pages. I tried to explain to this person, this masters, that that was kind of difficult because we're dealing with the Criminal Code of Canada and whatnot. And sweet, let me just talk real quick. And then he told me to go take it to the police, and I'm like, well, police aren't going to do anything. They told us at the time, when John went missing, to go get a lawyer. Then he suggested something about pro bono or something. I said, no, that's not going to work. Although I did acknowledge justice access to say that little group was very, very helpful and that we appreciated them. I tried to get this judge to masters, discern what the difference between. Because he wants me to write and do an amendment, and I'm like, well, okay. So you have the allegations, and then you want the material facts. Like, it's not computing for me. And then he basically told me to go back to school, and that if I was going to be filing notices of claims, I should be in school. That's what he told me. In other words, if you're not educated to do this kind of stuff, don't waste your time, because you could very well be charged and have to be fined. Which, when you take it from that point and you bring it down to a common denominator, that kind of tells you that there is no justice in Canada if they're telling you that you can't self-represent yourself because you're uneducated to follow through on the way you are supposed to write a particular notice of claim with material facts versus things being confused as evidence. So, at the end of the day, if we were in court and the judge was to side with somebody, I don't think this person would have sided with me. Although he did give me 5 extra pages, knowing that the case was complicated and that it wasn't that easy to write up, right? In terms of, if you can't do it in 15, then do it in 20. So there was a little bit of kindness from this person. But outside of that, Fraser Health was walking away feeling pretty confident that they've already won the case, even before it's gone to trial. And that's not to say that they're not dismissing it. I have 60 days from the end of 30 days, so technically 90 days, to gather up all our documents and list them under Form 22, that I know, Form 22, and submit them to the party. Right? He wouldn't allow me to to bring the two of them together in terms of CIBC Bank and Fraser Health. I have to do that separately through a notice of application. So as I'm finishing up with my, what do you call that, amendment, at the same time I'll be going down and I'll be working on a notice of application to bring the two of them together and so that I'm not wasting the court's time, right? So I'm still very much in the dark when it comes to this amendment, people. I have to write the allegation down with the material facts. I haven't quite figured out how to connect those dots and then reduce my notice of claim from 150 to 200 pages, whatever it is, down to 20 pages. So, I don't get to dress up very often. Right?
Are you gonna do a little spin, Mom?
Oh yeah. Okay, people. So it's the same day. I'm home now. Just gonna do a little recap here, right? I'm not too sure what happened. Okay. I don't know if I got some slack cut for me today, which I kind of think I did. Right? Or what? In a nutshell. So we go in front of the judge, and the lawyer that's representing this case sent his co-worker in, who happened to be a woman. Okay? And she had, I don't know, 2 or 3 separate pieces of paper asking 2 or 3 different things from the judge. On the surface, the judge was favoring her. In part because she was a professional and she knew the procedure, and in part I think it was because she represented Fraser Health Authority, the corporation. Whereas I was an individual that was watching her to see what I should do in terms of when I went up to the desk where those people stand. I was kind of watching her to try and get a cue as what I should do. Right? Now, whether anyone noticed that, I don't know. And then she presented her information first. She wanted to make it so that they could send me whatever it is that they were doing at any point in the future, an email as confirmation that I got it, versus having to rely on snail mail, like through the post office, on the assumption that I might move. I don't know if that was being directed at me personally, or if that's just an issue with court cases in general and whatnot. But at the same time, even if I was to get an email telling me whatever it was that they were doing, what do you call it? I would still get a hard copy at some point in the mail after the fact. That was the first thing. The second thing, it was something, I don't know what it was. But the judge ordered me to, under a freebie, he called it a freebie. You get one freebie in terms of writing an amendment. I tried to show the judge that I had tried to do it by hand already in terms of writing an amendment, and I expressed that I had no guidance no mentorship, no nothing, when I actually sat down for a period of over 3 months, 12 hours a day, to the point where I couldn't get up and walk, trying to write this notice of claim. As I read the Criminal Code of Canada, and this is what I said, as I read the Criminal Code of Canada like a Bible, along with, the Power of Attorney Act, the Mental Health Act, the Property Act, the Community Living Act, and all this other stuff, and that, I tried to incorporate it into my notice of claim so that the judge, when reading, would understand the story so that we could move forward. In addition to, I gave enough information for the corporation to do an internal investigation on their employees if they so choose to do so, even though I had requested the judge through my notice of claim under, asking for what you want. I asked for them, the judge, to order that, right? For the corporation to do an investigation. Okay. But everybody still kind of played dumb in terms of, well, you wrote too much. Nobody's going to read 200 pages. No judge's going to read 200 pages and blah, blah, blah. You need to bring it down to 15. But then he ended up cutting me slack and said, well, okay, maybe 20. 20 pages max. No more than 20 pages. He told me that he thought I could do it. And I'm like, well, I think I can do it too. I'd like to think I can do it. But then when he started talking about something, and then I'm like, yeah, but this is where I get confused, because I sit down, I tried to do the amendment, I explained to him, I tried to do the amendment, and what I'm finding is I'm just going back into the same circle rut with the same information being regurgitated, right? And I'm having a very difficult time. But it didn't matter, because he basically said, go back to school. He told me to go back to school. And like I said, he was kind of favoring the lawyer, right? The corporation. It's like they had their wires connected to each other in terms of sending, telepathic fucking thought, in terms of like, don't worry, we'll stick it to the bitch later. We'll just string her along. Because I kind of felt hoodwinked after it was all said and done, because he got curt with me, because I couldn't hear, right? And I must be going deaf too, on top of my eyes going funny, I couldn't really hear. And even with these glasses, people, I can't really see that well anymore. I really can't. So I'm looking at him, and I'm going like this, because I'm trying to listen. And not only am I trying to listen, but I'm trying to fully understand what he's saying. And, I'm at the same time trying to express that, I'm having a difficult time. And I told him this, distinguishing between material facts and evidence. And he goes something about the pleading and, and you got to do, and blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And he could see I was struggling with it. Then he just got frustrated with it, said something,
Mom.
made a pact deal with the lawyer, in terms of she can submit whatever she wants without me having to sign it.
Do you have the 6A?
No, I don't, Shimei. So anyway, so they get to do whatever they want without me having to sign something, because I had to sign something today. And then, because they were kind of rushing me, I'm like, before you sign, read it. Because what it was the order for me to have 30 days to do an amendment. I have to do an amendment within 30 days, and then make sure that this lawyer firm gets that amendment. Plus, I've got 60 days from the 30 days. When the 30 days is up, I still have another 60 days to gather up all the documents, and I have to list them. And I said, okay, that's Form 22. The judge said, well, I don't know about Form 22, but this rule. And I said, well, I don't know about the rule. I just know about the form. Okay, so I have to start documenting, listing all these documents, right? In addition to whatever Fraser Health has got to list as documents, right? So I don't know if I guess that's a good thing. I guess that didn't get dismissed. That doesn't sound like a dismissal to me. It doesn't sound like a dismissal to me. It doesn't sound like a dismissal. Because I thought I was going in for a dismissal. Unless they're leading up for that dismissal under one of those documents that I don't have to sign. Because as I'm reading it, they could, I'm reading it, And, they wanted, like, instant me to sign. And I'm like, well, let me read it first. Where do I sign? She points here. So I sign it. Turns out I signed it in the wrong spot. I signed it where the judge actually signs. I don't know if she did that on purpose. But, or maybe I did it. Who knows? I maybe did it by accident. Either or, I signed it in the wrong spot. But the point is I wanted to read it first. And because I wanted to read it, they mumbled something between themselves. The next thing you know, she whips out another piece of paper to ask the judge to approve whatever it is that they want to do without my signature. And he said yes. Kind of like Uncle John, right? The social worker said, you sign here, so you pay for convalescent care for Uncle John, right? And so that, we can go put him in convalescent care. Hold on a minute. Okay, so here's some good news, people. A little teeny weeny bit of good news. I have somebody reading over my notices of claims, both of them, right? With, objectivity, right? Completely fresh-minded, not jaded, has no agenda other than just interested in helping. And, making an effort to clean up my mistakes, I guess you can say. And so that's good. So for the next couple of 2, 3, 4 days, because I'm on a schedule, people, with this yard. And I have to do, like I do, I have to go into the basement. I haven't talked about this yet, but I have to get underneath the cupboards in the kitchen. I have to gut some of them and put new shelving in there, which technically isn't my responsibility. But that's one reason why my son got mad at me yesterday, because I'm not downstairs fixing the bathroom drywall because it's like molding out on the ceiling because of, mold, and it's starting with a hole, and just because it is what it is, right? It's an old bathroom. I've always had problems with that bathroom to one degree or another, right? I have to do caulking around the bathtub. The cupboards underneath the kitchen sink there need to be repaired where the pots and pans were, because, it's damp from the cement wall, and they've been down there for 15, 20 years, and they need to be somewhat repaired. So I'm going to try and do that. And, I have to gut the basement and steam clean and rearrange it. I'm setting up a little sewing area down there for them if they want to use it, right? In terms of making just a few things for the baby or themselves or whatever. And now that I have a shed, I can put some more stuff into one corner of the shed after the shed doesn't leak. And then I've got the yard work, and, I got to do this and do that. And so I don't know, people. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about this notice of claim now in light that somebody else is reading it for about 4 or 5 days. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clear off my table here and start getting ready to start listing documents. And I gave this person both notices of claims because you can't have one without the other, right? Technically, right? One couldn't do what they did without the other. Now, does that mean that the corporation is directly involved, or is it a corrupt employees? Well, that's up for the corporation to do the internal investigation into their employees and look at the numbers through the ombudsman. Okay? There's thousands of families filing reports for the very activity that's in my notice of claim. That's the corporation's responsibility to root out that corruption. Otherwise, it is part of that corruption and becomes a criminal organization under the Criminal Code of Canada. And just because the master said that's jurisdiction of the police, I would like to think that somewhere in there, the Attorney General could be called upon, and the Attorney General can take the leadership and do something about that corruption, bypassing the police to get the job done. Because the police had the opportunity to go look for Uncle John, and they refused to do it. They passed the buck onto some phantom lawyer that they knew We couldn't find because the system isn't geared to protect the most vulnerable in our society when it comes to corporate corruption. So it's definitely going to be some kind of wingdinger in terms of court case once it gets there. I have a new acorn. Do you see it? It's a different kind of acorn tree. It's not a white oak. I'm not sure the exact name of what kind of. I would think it's an oak tree of some kind because it gives off an acorn. So I'm not going to do too many videos for a little bit. Maybe just little blips and blurbs. Well, people, I'm working on the kitchen cupboards now. Well, people, I'm working in the bathroom now. Well, people, I'm working on painting out there now. Well, people, I'm working on the notice of claim now. I've only got 30 days. So I'll let this person read it for the next 4 or 5 days. See how they feel about it, and if they're interested in helping me to clean it up, then it will be much easier for me to follow through on that 30-day notice in terms of having to forward it to Fraser Health Authority, hopefully for the right reasons in terms of them doing an internal investigation and nipping this corruption that's staining their reputation. And hopefully have CIBC involved at the same time at some point in the near future so this stuff doesn't have to drag out for the next 20 years of everybody's life. Okay.